Welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we're diving into the hidden, unpredictable, and honestly high-stakes drama happening right beneath our cities. We spend so much time looking up at towering skyscrapers and marveling at these incredible bridges, but we rarely stop to think about the unseen battle happening underground, just to keep those structures standing upright while we work and sleep inside them.
As this quote brilliantly sums up, no structure is stronger than the ground it stands on. It sounds super simple, right? But this is literally the golden rule of civil engineering. Before any foundation can even be conceptualized, engineers have to understand the earth below. Think about the materials we normally build with, steel and concrete. They're manufactured, highly controlled, and completely reliable. But the soil? Soil is a massive natural wildcard. It differs significantly across regions, neighborhoods, and believe it or not, even across a single construction site. This makes the ground we walk on one of the absolute most complex elements of the whole shebang.
Okay, let's dive into this blueprint. First up is the hidden foundation. Then we'll look at what happens when the ground fails. After that, investigating the invisible, followed by shallow and deep solutions, and finally, surviving extreme soil hazards.
Section 1. The hidden foundation, the unpredictable force beneath our feet.
To make sense of this unpredictable force, we turn to soil mechanics. That's the essential branch of civil engineering that studies exactly how soil behaves under a load, how it reacts to moisture, and how it transforms over time. Now, soil is broadly classified by particle size into categories like gravel, sand, silt, and clay. But the really crucial point here is the stark contrast between coarse soils and fine soils. Coarse soils, like your sand and gravel, are a builder's best friend. They drain water fast, and they're incredibly stable under pressure. But on the flip side, we have fine soils, like clay. And clay? Well, it actively fights builders. It's essentially a giant, unpredictable sponge. It retains water, meaning it can expand significantly when it's wet and shrink drastically when it dries out. So building on clay creates a serious active risk for any structure sitting on top of it.
Section 2. When the ground fails. The limits of the earth.
So what exactly happens when we push this volatile material past its breaking point? Well, that brings us to one of the most critical properties geotechnical engineers have to figure out, and that's bearing capacity. This is the absolute first line of defense. They have to determine the exact maximum load the soil can safely support before it completely surrenders. You have to know exactly how much weight the earth can take before the ground simply gives way.
And if you do exceed a soil's bearing capacity, you trigger a disastrous chain reaction. The structure doesn't always just collapse in a sudden, dramatic crash. Actually, it often leads to a condition known as differential settlement. This is the uneven sinking of a foundation. Imagine one corner of a massive building sinking deeper into the earth than the other corners. Even if the soil doesn't collapse outright, this gradual downward movement over time will warp frames, crack walls, and ultimately ruin the entire structure. If you want a perfect real-world example of differential settlement in action, you don't need to look any further than the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Section 3. Investigating the invisible. Seeing underground.
Now you might be wondering, how can engineers possibly predict the behavior of something buried deep underground before they even start digging? It's basically like being an underground detective piecing together a hidden puzzle. Geotechnical engineers perform rigorous soil borings and lab tests. Step 1 is pulling up those actual soil samples. Step 2 is the standard penetration test. And this is fascinating. Engineers drive a sample tube directly into the earth and measure exactly how much resistance the soil provides. This gives them a highly practical estimate of the soil's real strength. Finally, step 3 is checking the groundwater level. Any water hidden beneath a site is a huge factor because it severely impacts both the strength of the soil and the fundamental design of whatever underground structure you're building.
Section 4. Shallow and deep solutions. Engineering the anchors.
Okay, so once engineers have all that investigation data, they have to design the structural heroes that will conquer these earthly forces. Foundations basically fall into two categories, shallow and deep. Shallow foundations, like spread footings and mat foundations, transfer the building's load to soil that's relatively close to the ground surface. These are perfect when the near-surface soil is strong enough to support the weight without that dreaded differential settlement we talked about earlier. But what if the surface soil is weak? That's where deep foundations come in. We're talking piles and drilled shafts. These structures transfer loads much further down, punching right through the weak soil layers to reach stronger soil or solid bedrock deep below. Think of massive coastal skyscrapers. They often sit on soft soil and rely entirely on these deep foundations.
And what's truly fascinating is the actual physics of how these deep piles work. A skyscraper relying on piles extending dozens of meters below the surface is actually supported in two distinct ways. The first is end-bearing, which is where the very bottom of the pile rests directly on strong material or bedrock, acting like a pillar. But the second way is through pure surface friction. As the long pile passes through the earth, the surrounding soil tightly grips the surface of the pile along its entire length. It is absolutely mind-blowing that friction alone provides a massive amount of the load-bearing strength, keeping those massive coastal skyscrapers standing tall.
Section 5. Surviving extreme soil hazards. When the Earth attacks.
So we've designed our foundations, but the Earth isn't always stationary, is it? Geotechnical engineers have to account for extreme, active threats. For instance, they use slope stability analysis for hillside construction to evaluate the risk of natural or constructed slopes just completely failing. They build retaining walls to hold back massive amounts of earth, and in cold climates, they have to battle frost heave, where freezing groundwater actually expands and slowly lifts shallow foundations right out of the ground. But perhaps the most dramatic, terrifying hazard of all is this: soil liquefaction.
Soil liquefaction is a totally surreal phenomenon. During the strong shaking of an earthquake, saturated, loose soil can temporarily behave like a literal liquid. When this happens, perfectly sound, incredibly well-built structures can sink unevenly, tilt wildly, or if they are buried structures, they can actually become buoyant and float upward through the liquefied soil just like boats. No way, right? To defeat this, engineers have to either avoid the highest-risk soils entirely, use specialized foundation designs, or rely on ground improvement techniques. A common method is soil compaction, which mechanically increases the density and strength of the soil before a single drop of concrete is ever poured.
Ultimately, understanding soil behavior allows engineers to select the exact right foundation, sidestepping costly settlement, tilting, and catastrophic structural failure. We've conquered the wild, unpredictable ground beneath our feet. But that leaves us with a massive question. Once the foundation is set, how do we build the towering structures above? How do materials like steel and concrete combine to overcome their own natural weaknesses? Well, that is exactly what we will uncover in our next explainer on reinforced and pre-stressed concrete design. It's a game changer, so you absolutely won't want to miss it. Keep learning, stay curious, and I'll see you next time.